Hello guys, welcome to my channel for another battle report, another practice game. I checked before the battle, it was actually 4 months from my last game live on the table until this game. So this is way too long, and I was really happy to at least test once my ETC list before going at the ETC in Serbia with physical model on a physical table, because playing online is cool, but at some point you also need to feel, confident on the table and know how to move things. It's slightly different than online. Also now with Warhol it's getting more and more similar, but yeah, it's still good to have the feeling a little bit how to move your unit on the table. So I was playing against my usual opponent, LICHEMEISTER. You know him already. He's playing VC for this game. This is my list. So you have the Shaman Wizard Master Shamanism, the Great Khan, Khan BSB with the Viper Curse, Cult Leader, 10 Bruisers, 3 Tribesmen, 6 Merc Veteran with Brace of Ogre Pistols, 5 Yetis, 1 Keen Eater, Saber-Tooth Tiger, 5 Trappers, Thunder Cannon and Frost Mammoth. My opponent was playing with a very heavy magical setup with a Count Master of Cosmology, with an additional Raise spell, an Adept Necromancer, an Adept BSB, a Cadaver Wagon, 2 Altar, 4 Wind Reaper with Pet Weapon, 3 times 28-ish skeleton with spears, 20 zombies. I think they had the Legend banner to play on the number of ranks, 8 dogs and 3 times 1 Banshee. So yeah, a lot of chaff, big blocks that are going to raise fast because of 4 raise spell, and then you have everything works with the altar, because the more the combat goes, the more the altar can do things with their special powers. And then as a combat threat, he has mainly the Wind Reaper. I picked +1 Strength Toughness, Break the Spirit, Totemic Summon, Hereditary, Rod of Battle, and then I had Chilling All from the Frost Mammoth that can be useful against the Altar effect and also against Banshee. And here you see my opponent, huge amount of spell for him with all these things, especially also considering the fact that the Altar are giving him 2 times Pentagram of Pain, so it's way too much spell for him at his disposal. So yeah, matchup analysis. Compact vampire list. I think he likes the fact that the opponent will be coming at him, and then he will also like to give him the time to prepare himself for the battles, meaning raising the skeletons, loading the altar, and getting ready for the time where the altar can really hurt most of the army. In this case, the Altar are really good against me because I have almost no armor, meaning I need either to kill them from range or go fast in CC. Wind Reaper main CC threat. Fortunately for me, I have good counters, because if you consider the Bruiser unit with the Great Khan Liger Tongue can beat them, and also Mercenaries thanks to the Frost Mammoth can also beat them in combat. So that's 2 very good answers against Wind Reaper. It's a practice game, so I will definitely try to push to see if I can get through this battle line of skeletons. Also see how it goes. I don't have any experience against double altar, so I'm really curious to see how it goes. I think starting the game seems a good idea, because if he starts the game, it's basically an extra round to load the altar. So I think starting isn't a bad idea. And yeah, on a side note, I was preparing my miniatures with my daughter nearby, and I was a bit not concentrated enough. I've completely forgot to to prepare my cannons, so I was missing 1 unit for this battle, which is a bit unfortunate, but it's only a practice game, so it's not too bad. So yeah, Thunder Cannon is missing here. So what happened? We played in circle. My opponent won the roll for side. He took the big center and put his second target here. I had 2 options to put mine. Basically, I could put it somewhere here, but you need to keep in mind the fact that with attacker it goes up to here. So with 24, I need to be somewhere like here, so very high towards his deployment zone, which I didn't like much. And then second option was to put it here to the side. which that's what I decided to do. And then I split a little bit my forces to be strong in the center and strong in the side, also with having the option of the mercenaries going for the center if my opponent decide to ignore completely this right flank. Basically by putting units that can quickly go towards the center with them vanguarding, just making sure that I won't be in a zone where I do nothing early on. So that's the idea. So I put 3 bruisers, yetis, mercenaries with BSB and shaman, frost mammoth, saber-tooth tiger, bruiser with the great Khan here, tribesman, and then my trappers here. My opponent puts his Wind Reaper far away from my shooting, also within light cover to completely deny me any good shooting position turn 1. Skeleton, Banshee, dogs, and then we have some zombies with cadaver wagon, all character in the back, so basically a bunker, and then double altar in the middle. My turn 1, so I push. I use the fact that the Wind Reaper are way back to really push hard. I march even with these guys, and at the moment I just made sure that my bruiser unit push forward, but also cover the fact that the Banshee can move out and maybe annoy a little bit my Frost Mammoth. So I made sure that it cannot move out of arc, and basically I use my trappers to shoot at his chaff and make sure he cannot chaff me turn 1. I push max as well with tribesmen that might get some opportunities for charges later on, and I kept my Kineater back, my Saber-tooth Tiger way back to avoid a Pentagram of Pain from the altar. So that's a bit the idea. Turn 1 I got Break the Spirit off on the Wind Reaper, and with shooting I killed 3 dogs. His turn 1, basically no charges. He decided to move back, so it chaffs my bruiser unit because I'm within charge range, so it chaffs me first time. He moves them back quite far away from me at the moment, ready to countercharge with skeleton. So these 2 units protecting each other, move back with the altar and move back with the dogs as much as he could. In the magic phase, he got Tooth of Time on my yetis to just make sure I cannot charge him. He got 2 raise spell, and then with shooting he killed my trappers and did 5 wounds with this Banshee, did 5 wounds to my tribesmen, which is a lot. I passed my panic check on a 9, but I don't have a lot of health point left. My turn 2. So I took the charge on the chaffing Banshee. I also took the charge with tribesmen. It was a 9 on 2 dice, and I was happy to get that because it's out of arc of everybody almost, and getting rid of a piece of chaff when my opponent has so many chaff units is a good thing. So I was really happy about that. And then here to the flank I just move 6 forward, ready to shoot at something. Also push forward with the Frost Mammoth to make sure I give the freezing aura to everybody if he wants to come forward. And yeah, that's more or less it. In the magic phase I got a Dispel Totemic Summon. I got +1 to hit on the mercenaries just in case, and I got +1 toughness on them. Close combat I kill bows and just make a post combat pivot. His turn 2, he chaffed my mercenaries, and here some nice trick. Use the Banshee to block my flank, put the skeleton in a minimized situation where if I charge I get only 2 model in contact and I cannot reform to the right due to Banshee. So very well done here to minimize my impact if I charge. This unit just give a front to this tribesman, but I think that isn't really needed because I won't go against this block alone. And then, yeah, just reposition himself with Wind Reaper and stuff, but nothing too crazy. Yeah, I think that's it. In the magic phase, he got... I tried to put Pentagram of Pain against my tribesmen and dispel that. Then he put -1 toughness on my mercenaries. I tried to dispel, but even with 1 dice more than him, I wasn't able to do so. And then he got also an hereditary, and now with shooting, he did a lot with the Banshees. And Altar combined, even Altar strength 2, but still 6's earth against my low armor. And he did 4 wounds to my mercenaries, 4 wounds to the bruiser, and 2 wounds to tribesmen, which is quite a lot. So yeah, that was a bit annoying for me. Because it's still early in the game, I haven't touched any skeleton unit. I'm not going to do it next turn, most likely. And the altar are loading, which is something I wanted to avoid. So my turn 3. here I was able to move out of arc by reforming and then moving 6, so I was quite happy, and there is no possibility for him to do another trick like that with skeleton. So I'm making sure that all my model can attack next turn when I charge. This guy with 1 wound remaining moves back. There is 1 second target here, second one here. So this guy is going to move slowly back, and then just making sure I'm within 18, and last turn I can do 12 and be within 6. That will be the idea. This guy is charge the chaff. I made sure that I have magical attack here, so I'm not too annoyed by the benches, so to say. And these guys, they stay back at the moment. I also positioned the Frost Mammoth to give a long charge, as long as I could, but at the same time making sure that if he charges me, he's within the freezing aura, and I'm going first with mercenaries. That's very important here on this flank. In the magic phase, I put +1 toughness on mercenaries, and I failed Totemic Summon. Close combat, I kill the chaff, and that's his turn 3. So that's the position that he took at his turn 3, so basically it was interesting. Position skeleton to chaff me. BSB and Shaman are here, so they cannot go alone, do anything crazy. And then he blocked. I have my Keen Eater that went on the board on my turn. He used them as a counter chaff piece, but at the same time chaffing my Keen Eater to charge into the skeleton or the bunker or the altar, which was, I think, pretty smart from him. So that's the position, basically skeleton in the front, and then 3 units ready to countercharge me, which is not so cool. And here, same situation, he faced me, put them ready to countercharge me in the flank. In the magic phase, he got reroll to wound and lethal strike on these skeletons. I dispelled -1 toughness, and then with shooting, he did 1 wound to my Keen Eater, 4 wounds to the bruiser, another 2 wounds to the mercenaries, and another 1 wound to the mercenaries. So these wounds are very expensive on the mercenaries, and I knew that when if everything's alive on this turn, it's starting to get very complicated, and now I have no real option to move back. I've committed to go forward, and I'm going to go into combat to see how it goes. But I decided to move away from my safe position here, where I had the control of the objective, to try to go in combat to see how it goes. And no, I committed, so I need to continue my rush to see how it goes. So my turn 4, I charge both. So in and in. This guy just reform, getting ready to possibly counter charge. But I'm really annoyed by this impassable, and here you see how complicated it is when you push with an impassable in the middle of your line. It's very complicated to push. That's something I will try to avoid in the future. I think the Keen Eater move around somewhere here to just annoy him. I think so. The magic phase, I got +1 toughness on mercenaries to protect them, because I know that I'm going to get countercharged by the altar. The good thing is they only have strength 3. Only the impacted are strength 5, so I'm expecting impacted. I know it's not cool, but I didn't see any good option. What I could have done is just move 3 back and try to wait, and yeah, just move back and try to annoy him and avoid him going forward. But it was always going to be difficult when I reach this position, so I decided to try to continue and try to absorb the impact, and after this I can minimize the charge from them. And then it's only strength 3 attack, so if I can buff them, maybe I can do some great things, who knows. So I got +1 toughness, and I also got break the spirit on them, which is really, really nice, because they're going to countercharge me in the flank. Shooting, I did 1 wound on an altar, and then close combat. So here I did 13 total. He has, ward save 5 up on them, ward save 5 out on them, thanks to the Cadaver Wagon. This is also very, very, very important at this point, because this saves a lot of wounds that I did during this combat. So I did 13, he did 6 back, but with the BSB nearby and all the stuff, he only loses another 2 wounds. Static res is also very important. And here on this side, I did 11 wounds only, and he did 6 back to me, meaning he lost 0 from combat res. And at this point, I knew that I lost the game, because this was my charge round. I did, I killed 10, 13, but then nothing with combat res, and now it's his turn with a lot of counter charges. I knew that it was going to be over very fast. So he double charged me here. He lost 14 to DTs, but as you can see, there are still plenty of models left. And the Ridge Reaper just moved here to avoid me counter charging the skeletons in the corner. In the magic phase, I Binding Scroll, -1 toughness and leadership, because this is key. He's able to raise some skellies. He got also reroll to wound on them. And then I dispel the ward save with shooting. He did 2 wounds to my Frost Mammoth with the Banshee and Altar combined. 2 wounds to the King Eater, who is almost dead. And then close combat, I did 11, he did 5 to me. I lose by 2, I pass my 7 rerollable. And this combat, I did 11, he did 5 to me, so he killed all the mercenaries. I don't have any mercenaries left between shooting and combat. So I have only my 2 characters left, but they are still alive, still in combat, and I can support next turn. Turn 5, so I try to counter-charge what I can. So I charge with both against Wind Reaper. I fail a charge on a 5 with them on 2 dice. And this is annoying because I have no chance with 5 Yetis against 4 Wind Reapers. So I charge, I will strike before him, but I need to do much more than... I need to do 6 wounds to have only 2 models striking back to have a chance. And their high strength attack would have been really helpful. So yeah, I was a bit frustrated to fail that one. Here I charge Chaff. Here I charge in the back to support. And here I charge with the King Eater, with the Saber-Tooth Tiger and the flank to support. Magic Phase, I got Hereditary on the Bruisers, Break the Spirit on Wind Reapers, and that's it. Close combat, I did 4 wounds with the Yetis, which is kind of expected. He did 5 wounds back, meaning it's a tie. Here I killed the Banshee, I guess. And here, yeah, I killed the Banshee. And here I lose by 1 and I pass my check. So yeah, I did 1 wound to the dog. I didn't do much and I lose by 1, pass the check with my BSB. And then last round, then we stop after that. But basically, he counter-charged with an Altar in the flank of the Yetis. And he was in combat. And basically what happens, Altar, strength 5, kill the Frost Mammoth, kill the King Eater, do some wounds against my Bruisers, do some wounds against the Yetis, and then close combat, he kills the Yetis, kills all the Bruisers except the Great Khan, who fled but far away, wasn't catch. And yeah, that was it. So I have a fleeing Great Khan left, a tribesman unit, these guys left, and the dogs die also. So I lost pretty much everything and we decided to stop after that. We didn't add up points, but definitely a very big victory for the VCs. So yeah, on the macro level, I think my token placement was not a good idea. Definitely, if I want to push, and generally speaking, I think I should have put it on the left. Even if it's getting close to his deployment zone, I think it's allowing him to use the Impossible was really a bad idea, a very bad idea. Pure rush seems way too risky. He has so many chaff, and even after the chaff pieces, you have the skeleton block that chaffs you because you take ages to kill them. So I think I need to kill 1 Altar from range, pick Swarm of Insect in my spell so I can use Totemic Summon and Swarm of Insect, and then with all the shooting and also the missing cannon, I should be able to do some damage on the Altar, and then it gets feasible because this Altar, so many rounds of Altar was way too much for my mercenaries especially. But also for the Bruisers, they did a lot of wounds, and also the Banshees hurt a lot, so that was very complicated. All of that together was way too much. Playing a KG game on a small part of the board was definitely in his advantage and was a mistake. I wasn't able to use my mobility, especially with the Yetis, try to get in the flank and annoy him. I think considering my deployment and my bad placement of the token, I could have corrected a little bit the situation by vanguarding the Yetis towards the left, move them turn 1s nearby the Death Star of Bruiser, and then move the Frost Mammoth to the right, because then you see the right part, I didn't have much space to maneuver, and I think getting only mercenaries and Frost Mammoth in position nearby the token, shooting at him, would have been enough, basically, on the right. And then in the center I have Yetis to support the Death Star and avoid the Death Star of Bruiser getting in a 1 against 2 fight against 100 of skeletons. Yeah, high number of chaff, plus the fact that he has very big block of skeleton, makes the rush against this list very difficult. I think impossible almost for my list. if you have a list with more threats, maybe some flying elements, it can get more doable. But I think for my list, the best approach in this matchup would have been definitely to shoot some things and take more time to go into combat. But I wanted to try it. It's a practice game, so yeah, no harm here. And yeah, some nice to see that the 18-inch BSB still allowed me to play somehow wide, at least at the beginning, which wouldn't have been the case with the 12-inch BSB. And I saw that, yeah, when I have so many units in combat, like I was towards the end, it's very hard to buff everybody in difficult combat. I got way too many difficult combat at the same time. My opponent had more buff than me, channeling a lot, so it was kind of hard to fight in this combat. And this is not something I've been used to when facing his VCs, so that was a big surprise for him and me in this game, but was definitely a lot of interesting learnings in this matchup. So thanks a lot for watching, and yeah, see you soon on my channel with other battle reports. Bye bye.